I became CEO 15 years ago when the business was 2,500 people in 16 countries. And I'd primarily been focused, as Richard said, on building a winning culture. So what have I done? First of all, you clearly have to focus on the strategy for the business and where you're going to invest. We did that by focusing on what we regarded as the future for the group in terms of international regions. We have 5 so far that are those high potential markets. The US, Latin America, Germany, China, and Southeast Asia. They represented 12% of the group when I took over. Today, they're 37% of the group, and that continues to grow. We also invested considerably in making sure that our people could be as effective as possible by centralizing all of our support functions and our strategic control. We built shared service centers in each of the regions: Barcelona, Buenos Aires, Singapore, and here in Slough. We also invested heavily in technology, which last year I was very grateful for, and innovation to really try and lead the market on that front. And then really rounding on the key topic, making sure that we have an inclusive and diverse business has been absolutely key. To me, it's blindingly obvious, particularly in a people business, that if you can maximize your ability to attract talent, you can minimize the attrition of that talent, and also in between ensure that they are most engaged, most motivated to drive productivity. Then you're going to have a good business. And so attract the best, keep the best, and motivate them well. So we believe we've done a lot to do that. I think one of the main things is to adjust our culture to ensure that we're relevant for today's society and today's workforce. One of my primary focuses has been on making sure we're more inclusive so that everybody can feel that they can be completely open about themselves, maybe some challenges they have, or their sexual orientation, gender, whichever, to ensure that we have got a very diverse workforce. And we've been very heavily focused on that, and the numbers stack up to support it as well. There was one area, I suppose, of inclusivity that I probably hadn't ensured the group was as focused as it should have been. And I think this is very common, actually, with a lot of organizations, and that's the area of disability, which is, roughly speaking, 20% of the population. Probably the reason for me not focusing on it enough was my lack of understanding of that sector. It's complicated. However, and there's an irony here, 2 years ago, I had a very, very near fatal accident while skiing in Switzerland. And that accident has left me in a wheelchair. For those of you who are familiar with spinal injuries, I have a T10, T11 complete fracture, which means basically I can't feel anything below my belly button, put bluntly. So clearly, I've gone through an education program 2 years ago, starting with a relatively lengthy period in hospital, meeting a lot of other disabled people in a specialist spinal hospital. And subsequently, I've been very involved, having got back to work in running the company through COVID, obviously, but also making sure that I really get up to speed with understanding what disability means, some of the challenges that people face, and so on. And I have to say that's been very, very inspiring and interesting over lockdown, particularly. It's worth mentioning, I've got about a minute, worth mentioning how we've traveled through COVID. Obviously, recruitment is a challenging time when you can't interview people and meet clients face to face. However, fortunately, our technology stood up. Everyone was able to log on securely at home, and we continue to do everything by video. We got through last year profitable, which is great. We continued to invest very heavily last year. We did take some furlough money, but we've returned it all to the government. Only really at the peak of the uncertainty did we do that. As it turned out, we didn't need to, as we're a very strong cash-rich business. We've hired 600 people from the competition, which is a first for us, but I think the brand we built and our reputation during COVID allowed us to do that. 600 proven billers. They've landed well in the business. Our attrition is, I'm proud to say, at its lowest point ever, and that's with everything opening up around the world gradually. And clearly a lot of candidates being on the move, having, as Richard said earlier, reflected over the last 12 months on what they're happy about and what they're not happy about. And I'm also proud to say that in March of this year, we got back to where we were in our record year of March 2019, and our productivity actually was at a record high for the group. That's it.